Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Hero Podcast 64, with, of course, myself, Ryan G from ADS Aligned Data Strategy, and my co host, the success creator, the kingmaker, the real Pete Kirkwood. Pete, what did you have in mind?
Well, good morning, Ryan. Good afternoon for me. Good morning for you, and good night to our listeners in America. Well, today I thought we'd talk about something possibly a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting. People are thinking about heroes and what it is to be a hero, and as the world is changing around us and stuff at the moment, I've had a conversation with quite a few people about, what it is to step up and be a hero in a time like this. And is it going to make you happy? Are you going to be happy being a hero? Are heroes happier than other not heroes, regular people? Because a lot of people are chasing happiness, or
Hmm.
happiness is at least important to them. It's a
Right.
pretty key thing in the way we think about our life. So as a hero, what is the relationship between the hero and happiness in the hero's life? And I think this is a really cool question, because
Mhm.
a lot of the times in life when we're thinking about doing whatever, right, a new project or a new adventure or starting a new something, we're thinking, why are we going to do it? What is it going to give me? What results am I going to get, have, and achieve from doing it?
Fair.
And when it comes to a lot of things, they're very obvious, not big on the happiness. You get something else. So, for example, you're going to get a job as a rubbish collector, right? You know that's going to be big on the paycheck. It's going to pay you money, and that's probably more why you're keen to do it than it's going to really be something you enjoy doing every day that makes you feel very fulfilled. Whereas going to the amusement park with your mates is big on the happiness scale, but it's probably not very big on the results for your life scale. That's probably not going to be the thing that makes you into a success. It's not going to pay your bills or anything
Hmm.
like that. Maybe it is if you're really that kind of creative legend. I can think of ways of monetizing that, but that is for my program of my clients, not for this podcast.
Fair
The
enough.
point is, when it comes to happiness, we want to be happy. Happiness is important to us, but it's quite elusive. You know, you can't get a dollar figure to become happy. Happiness isn't $100,000 in cash. It's not $1 million income, and it's not even many of the things we're told it is. Happiness is not a Coca-Cola. That is taste, right? That is your body enjoying the taste of something. That is not happiness. Happiness is a state of beingness, which
Right.
means that it has to come from within. It cannot come from without. So the real question is, if you're going down the path of being a hero and heroism, is it going to inside generate happiness? And I think there's almost a catch 22, right? Because the things that make us happy often aren't things that make us happy on the surface. For example, when I look at myself in the mirror and I see the tone in my muscles and the lack of fat, right? Because I came from a very fat position coming out of
Mhm.
lockdown. I think a lot of people around the world can relate to that one. And yeah, there you go, right? And I put that effort in to change it. When I see that, it reminds me of what I've achieved, and that makes me happy because I've set out to do something, I've achieved it, and I have the result. And I have to pay the tax on that result, right? Or the rent on that result um, every day. You don't go to the gym for 6 months, get a body, and then tick it off and never go back. It doesn't work like that. And I think that a lot of people forget that happiness doesn't work like that either. You don't go make a bunch of money and then have money, tick it off, you're happy. You don't go and find your dream woman and give her a ring or have sex with her and be like, done, I'm happy, never need to do this again. It doesn't work like that. And especially with the give a ring, get married, we've been sold such a lie. You
Mhm.
know, Your wedding day is going to be the happiest day of your life. So what you're saying is after that, it's all going to suck? Yeah, probably. And like guys are going, yeah. And girls listening to this are going, well, but no, because the point is getting married, right? Well, are you really going to be happy once you've tamed that guy and you've bent him and broken him down? Like, you're going to be happy going forward, or are you going to be looking for something else to continue to do the same process? That's getting into another subject. But you start seeing that happiness becomes a consistent beingness. It's not a end result. It's not an object. It's a perspective. So I can look at my body and I can say, you know what? I don't look like Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I'm not happy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's silly, because I'm never going to look like Dwayne the Rock Johnson. So I'm never going to be happy. So it's about making a conscious decision about what happiness means for you. And from your perspective, Ryan, what does happiness mean for you in that perspective before we get about the hero and the happiness?
Hmm. Well, coming from a more personal point of view, happiness for me would mean just the act of seeking good feelings,
Mm.
be it by helping out a granny crossing the street, be it doing the stuff that's really hard to do, like whatever DC Fitness has planned for me every fucking week. Or, yeah, yes, these workers are insane. Or, you know, better said, doing the hard things for long term gain and then seeing the results of it, like workouts, thesis, building a better man. At the same time, now moving towards the hero, there's something very similar to that because hero work is not easy, else everybody would want to do it. It's let's compare it to the garbage man. I don't know a lot of people that want to do it, me being one of them. It pays
Yeah,
great money, but it takes, although it's not social suicide, you need to almost learn how to handle the internal disturbance so that you can be of better service and actually find the joy within what you're doing. It's the same thing with cold call sales. I've done it a few times and I admire the people that can do this and just walk away scot free, even though being yelled at by who knows how many people and in what kind of ways. Now, do I think salespeople are heroes? I think yes, because sales is one of the main pillars of any company. If you don't have a proper sales department, uh, you're going to have to either have an godlike level marketing, where you don't really have to do anything with the sales, or
yep,
you're fucked. Pete.
agreed. I agree there. I think sales is really, really critical. And create any kind of wealth for yourself or anything, you have to be able to sell. And anyone who agrees says otherwise, you're wrong. You got to get a job, to get a paycheck, you have to sell yourself to that employer so they'll hire you. Selling is life.
Yeah.
That's a whole another can of worms, right? We should talk about hero and sales. But in terms of happiness, well, in the garbage example, right? Because that's pretty easy to work with. You could find happiness in the garbage example by saying, I'm cleaning up the room. That's a pretty important thing to do. Now, if you're just driving a garbage truck from A to B,
Mm-hmm.
and you do that for 10 years, and probably A to B to C to D to all the different stops, all the way to
Mm-hmm.
Z, and that doesn't change, there might be some happiness with cleaning up the world at the beginning, but you're not growing or challenging yourself in any way, there's no growth. So your return on your investment is flat, right? The time you put in gets you the same result every time. And that's not a good recipe for happiness.
Hmm.
So if you instead say, hey, look, we're going to take this one truck into a company that is really going to make a difference to how the world looks at rubbish, and we're going to incorporate recycling here, and then we're going to be able to produce products over there that people can use from recycled material, and we're going to get these things clean. And all of a sudden, that starts creating something that's way bigger than just, I'm a garbage man. And if you own a business to clean up the world, that's not quite social suicide. So there is always something you can take from something, and you can always find happiness within it. And the person who embarks on that journey is going to be happier than the guy who just drives the truck. Now, it's
So
probably going
would
to be
I
hard.
be correct in assuming that a hero without a purpose can never be happy?
Well, yes, a hero without a purpose can never be happy, but a purpose is self-defined.
Right.
So if you are the kind of person, now to be fair, if you're the kind of person who can be happy by just simply cleaning up the world, doing your job, going home and doing something else, right? If you're looking at it from that perspective, I have a pretty good job, I do good stuff, I get paid, and that's enough for me, then you probably can be happy like that. I can think of quite a few of people from older generations who really had that mindset, and they might live their life more on their boat on the weekend than they do in their job. But they're happy with what they do because it ticks the boxes. Maybe it's a signal of our generation or something, but it seems to not be quite the way. And
Hmm.
especially for someone like me, I need new challenges. I need new stimulation. I think a lot of the people who find a podcast like this are in the same boat. And the thing with a hero is when there's a war
Hmm.
or a princess to rescue or a treasure to discover or something to be done, when there's a challenge and a task in front of you, unless you give it your 100, you're not going to be happy with yourself, right?
I can see that.
And if you give it your 87 and you still kill the dragon, and there's like 13% things that you don't do, like you didn't quite save a third of the town being torched to the ground. You only scored an 87, not 100. You didn't save the whole town, right? Like you probably aren't going to be as happy as if you had really completed that task. But if you're a hero because you're a dragon slayer and you've slain the dragon, now the dragon is dead. The village doesn't need you. How do you find a purpose? How do you find a happiness? And that's where you had a thought.
Yeah. Isn't this very similar to the Goku Paradox? Because I don't believe, Goku from Dragon Ball Z, I don't believe Goku wants to save the world. I don't believe that. What I do believe is he loves fighting strong opponents.
Correct.
Is his literal thing in life. It's like the only thing that he really cares about. I've never really
Not
seen
true.
him. Well,
Not true.
okay, do
Right?
tell.
Because he loves fighting strong opponents,
Mm-hmm.
but he is one hell of a family man. And you will see him put his son first. Sometimes that's first in the line of fire, right? But that's because he's doing the whole, you need to get harder, son. You need to grow up here. This is your opportunity. And I know you could do it. And he's right? Like, I'm thinking of the Cell fight in particular, where he's like, I believe in you, son. This is your
Exactly.
moment.
I was thinking exactly about that fight.
Exactly. So there's his family, but there's also a genuine appreciation of life because he really actually is a very well balanced character to talk about the happiness of a hero. Goku's a fantastic example because he loves to eat food.
Uh huh.
He loves to spend time with his friends. He loves to train. He enjoys the whole process of being a hero, not just the glory hog, not just the challenge. He enjoys the training in the quiet time. He enjoys the spending time with the family. He enjoys the eating a huge meal, right? All of the aspects of his life, he's very present in them, and he's very happy. And
Mm-hmm.
that it's a perfect example when you look at someone like Vegeta, who's more of an anti-hero but becomes a hero. Vegeta can never just be happy with what he's got going on, right? He's always, oh, but I need to be stronger, and I need to be faster, and I need to be this, and I need to be that. And he's never takes some time to enjoy himself.
That is true.
And a lot of people look up to him for being a real badass, but everyone kind of has to go, even if I don't like Goku, I have to give him the props because he represents such a beingness. Like you're like, well, he's the best. And I think it really says something in terms of, because Goku seems to actually appreciate the entire hero's process and be happy with the entirety of it, he is a better hero. And Vegeta isn't satisfied with the process of being a hero, so he never is, because he prevents his own happiness. And I think as heroes, we need to be able to balance between just being happy for the sake of being happy being a hero, and actually making sure that we're achieving some kind of a result that's worthy of that happiness. You know, that that it's looking for the words. What are your thoughts on that comparison between the happiness of those two heroes?
Well, you made me think about Michael Singer a lot,
Go
and
on.
the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is almost like a daily grind. You need to force yourself to enjoy it and get used to that. And from the Michael Singer perspective, you need to learn to be comfortable with whatever any resistance, or better said, psychological disturbances that come up, because it's these disturbances, if you don't let them go, then you're not holding on to your happiness. You're
Mm-hmm.
basically blocking it, as what you would have seen with Vegeta in a lot of, the scenes, especially when his first son was born. You could clearly see he doesn't understand that he can enjoy his son being born, his son, raising his son. There's joy to be found in anything. And that's all. That's, if you take this to an extreme, um, Skyfall, James Bond, the scenes where he gets tortured comes into mind because it's an extreme
Oh
example.
yeah,
But we
yeah.
don't have to
Casino
go in.
Royale. Casino Royale, where Lashif has him on the chair. That's the one.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the one where he has the. If he gives the codes, that is the situation. If he gives the codes, not only is he definitely going to be killed and even tortured even more, but a lot of people will die. So the only option that he has is to endure it. And if he has to endure it, through whatever mental training that he has, he still finds the joy in it by literally stating out loud, "You've missed this spot."
He takes it one step further. Right? I see where you're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
and in that scene, James Bond takes it one step further. He uses happiness as a weapon, right?
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
what he does in that moment is he enjoys himself so much that he psychologically beats the shit out of his torturer. He says, a little to the left, a little to the left. And the guy smashes him, and he goes, and he
Yeah.
cracks up laughing. He says, what's so funny? He says, the whole world's going to know that you died scratching my balls. and the sheaf loses it, right? He's like, "Whoa!" And it really shows you that difference between he's so in the moment, and the
Right.
happiness comes from using what he has. Going back to the Goku Vegeta example, right? It's a brilliant example to bring up because it's really clear. If you were to say, Vegeta, what makes you happy? And he says, being the prince of all Saiyans, being the king of all Saiyans will make me happy. Being the strongest Saiyan will make me happy. Beating Kakarot will make me happy. Well, congratulations, Vegeta. Every single one of those is an external thing.
Yeah.
That's nothing internal. If you ask Goku, it's giving my all when I fight, being a good father, and eating food, right?
Of
Like,
course.
eating food might be tending towards the more external, but, I haven't ever seen Goku eat something and be like, "Oh, I wish I had this instead." He's just like, yeah, it's food. Food's good. It's very
Yeah,
much
I've never seen him complain.
right. Never seen him complain because he finds the happiness in what he has. And in that scene, Daniel Craig plays it brilliantly because James Bond does not have a lot, but he still finds the happiness in being tortured because it's all he has. So that's a fantastic example of the hero's happiness. And from the outside, looking in, that's how you know he's a hero because he can find happiness in being tortured by having his balls smashed.
Quite
That's
literally,
pretty
yeah.
extreme. Like,
That's I'm not sure I'm strong enough to do that.
yeah, I get where you're coming from, right? Uh, the funny thing I find is that it's okay that you're not strong enough to do that, Ryan, because it's not happening to you. And if you're not uh, ready to accept that challenge, it won't happen to you, right? So no one's going to be in that position. In terms of the hero I am in my life, like you look around at the world at the moment, it needs some heroes. And
Mm.
I see men standing up. I see men standing up. And I see some of them standing up by sending me messages about stuff that is pretty sensitive information, but they know if they put it on their social media, it's just going to cause too much drama for them to handle. But I'll share it. I don't give a fuck. And then I see people, further down the line who literally are out there hunting down traffickers and shooting these people and rescuing women and children, right?
Right.
Further down the line than me. Now, that's probably not my part, but I did have a discussion with a guy who was, let's see if the podcast gets taken down for talking about this truth.
Oh boy.
He spoke out when some bullshit went down and the government pulled some shit over the public's eyes with one of their red flag events that I'm not going to specify.
Uh-huh.
So they came into his work with guns and handcuffed him and took him out of there. And he even said to his boss, "They're probably going to come for me today." And they locked him up and they took him away. And they did everything. They fucking waterboarded him, the whole thing. I live in a country where this shit's never supposed to happen, right? Never, never. But no, in New Zealand, they'll waterboard you. And they did all of this stuff. Now, they knew who he was. They knew he was a real hard ass. But because he was a real hard ass, they knew that he would handle that without completely going wrong.
Bananas,
Because he
yeah.
was like, I've been trained in counter-terrorism, and they knew that. And then they let him go. And they let him back into the general population, specifically so he can go and tell everyone how badly they abused him to stop people from standing up, to scare people who are not as strong as he was. Which is why I loved it when he told me the story. I was like, sweet ass, doesn't phrase me. And he was like, wait, what? I said, look, at the end of the day, I look at the situation in the world and I go, if I did nothing, how could I ever be happy with myself? And if I'm killed, standing up for what's good, standing up for what's right, doing the right thing for myself, my family, my brothers, my children, my clients, the people I care about, why would I not be happy with that? That is a life lived well. Because I could die from a heart attack right now. I could die from a sniper through the window. I could die from my car losing traction and a piece breaking, and all of a sudden it slides into a truck going the other way when I get down to the shop for a bottle of milk. Like, you're not invincible. You're not immortal. You're going to die one day. So be happy in the way that you live. And this is where a hero has the opportunity to be happier than anyone else, because you live so true to yourself when you're a hero. When you're not a hero, you compromise so much that happiness is hard. Happiness is easy as a hero because you're not second guessing and hedging bets and compromising. It's very black or white, right? This person is a good person, not a problem. This person is a bad problem. As a bad person, we're going to deal with that person. There is no, oh, but maybe they're kind of just trying to this and that. Yeah, are they a good person? Yes. Are they doing bad things? Yeah, but they're a good person. We treat them as a good person. Are they a bad person? Yes. Are they doing good things? I don't care. They're a bad person.
Right.
When you get to a level where you understand what you're doing, you have purpose, you have drive, you have reason, and the more heroic you become, these things come to you. At the beginning of my journey, none of this shit existed. Now my happiness has started to be found in the daily activities. And when I forget the small things and to be appreciative and the rest of it, I'm less happy. Right? Like, oh, today I've had a call, a client's called me in the middle of the night. I haven't had enough sleep. Someone else called me first thing. I'm running out of time. I'm going to skip a workout. I'm not as happy. I'm not as happy. Why? It seems small, but it's my training as a hero. It's part of who I am. And I know in my core that the right thing to do is to find time for that. And that happiness comes from, right, we go back to those Stoic principles. Justice means doing the right thing. It will make you happy. It might be hard. It might be uncomfortable. In the moment, it might not make you happy in the moment. The first time that you have to use an example, you're a soldier, you're going to war. The first time you have to kill an enemy, you're probably not going to feel very happy about it. When you look at that bigger picture of how many innocents that person might have killed that you've saved, well, it starts to look a little different. And after you've actually had to kill maybe 100 people to save 1,000 innocents, you're less like, oh, damn, I had to kill someone. You're more like, I'm actually doing some good here. Now, I don't know what soldier fighting what war, right? Like, it's all very contextual. It always is. But the happiness only comes from within. Only. You have to be able to say, I did my best, and it wasn't enough, but it was my best. And I'm happy with that. And Goku's a perfect example. He'll often pass the baton if he's not strong enough. And he's never like, oh, man, I'm not good enough. You're going to have to do it. Oh, he's like, I've given it everything. And now it's your turn.
Yeah. And he never stops smiling. But that would also mean there's a form of gratefulness towards what has been reached. To either what has been reached, to going through the process, to going to the grindstone, the meat grind or whatever, and just being okay with whatever happens.
Absolutely. Is there much difference between gratefulness and happiness?
That's a good question, Pete. I don't know. Because to be grateful would simply mean I'm not only okay, I'm actually very appreciative of the situation at hand. I'm appreciative or grateful for getting some semblance of a decent sleep, having warm water, food in my belly, the basics. And anything more
Yeah,
would be abundance. So I can just be happy living this life out in whatever way my life plays out.
So you've just confirmed it, right? If you're grateful, you're happy. And all it takes to be happy is to acknowledge your gratitude. I'm happy that I had the opportunity to rearrange my entire space, right? Like you can probably see there's a mirror over there and things have changed and the rest of it. Anyone who pays attention to my background, this is completely different, completely. And it makes me happy because
Right.
I'm so grateful that it's done, right? I'm grateful. And look, I'm grateful that today was beautiful weather. I'm happy for it. It's so closely linked. I can't see how gratitude is not happiness, which means it's always your decision and it's always that close. We've probably heard the advice. Like anyone listening to this has probably heard the advice. Write down 5 things you're grateful for every day.
Mm-hmm.
Start happy. Create happy. Happiness is your choice, it's your beingness, and it's available to you
At all
anytime.
times, yeah.
And the
But you
more
need to
heroic
work
you
on it.
are,
You need to work on it every day, every chance that you get. It's like meditation. It's a spiritual journey of the hero as well, because he has chosen his path. Thus, he has chosen his own obstacles. Thus, he has chosen his own suffering. But using your words, the better he learns to suffer, the better reward that he gets, in the reward has some semblance with happiness, gratefulness. And we live in a culture, and I'm thinking it's beginning to change, where we think of obstacles as, annoyances,
mm-hmm,
whilst, the old Greek, the old Romans, men of ancient times saw obstacles as nothing more than building blocks of an empire,
true,
building blocks of, building a good character, men of
true,
character. And if you want to lead, fundamentally, you need to be a man of character, good character. Realize that you are a good person. Realize that as a hero, you have not only a responsibility to the world, but also keeping yourself sane, keeping yourself happy, keeping yourself responsible for your life, and owning it as the boss that you should be.
mm-hmm.
Hero work is never easy, but boss shit was never easy to begin with.
No,
It,
or everyone would do it. It's the old saying: if it was easy, everyone would do it.
yeah,
And we must be coming pretty close on our half hour. How are we for time?
we're around the half hour, but uh I have to pay the count now, so you don't really have to worry about it too much.
That's fine. I'm looking for half hour. We'll stick this to keep the half hour mark because random times all the time is not productive. So what I'm gonna say in conclusion
Hmm.
is that happiness is always available to you. And the
Right.
cheat is you can just decide, right? Like here's the cheat. You can decide to be grateful that you're not dead and be happy, and that's all it takes.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do fuck all to be happy, but that'll only hold up so well for so long, right? You're a human being that's designed for a lot more than just to not die. So the more that you do, the stronger and more genuine that happiness becomes, and the
Right.
harder it becomes to take away from you.
Right.
So there is value in going down that hero's path in terms of happiness, but it won't be easy and it will be hard and all the rest of it. And if you're looking in life from a position that something you need is that financial value to really change your position and break free of where you are, because the entire system we live in is a financial system and you need to know how to get around it. Reach out to me. That's what I'm helping people with. The more I've focused on helping them with their financial problems, I can do relationship and all the rest of it. It all ties together. But working from the financial perspective, that's my background. That's where I come from. For too long,
Nice.
I've said focus on other things. And that is the key. The ultimate key to happiness is growth. And using money as a tool using as a measuring stick, and all these kind of things. It's powerful. We can use it for us instead of it being used against us. That's where things are coming up. So my event's coming up. Get a hold of me for that. Get a hold of me for the group that's coming up. There's going to be a huge, what's the word? Shift in how I help, because good people do not deserve to be broke. Good people deserve to be rich, and rich people have power. So
Mm-hmm.
good people deserve to have power. It's that simple. Now, let's be happy about being rich. Let's be happy about being good. Let's be happy about being powerful. In a personal level, reach out to me. In terms of if you have a business that needs optimization, would I be correct in saying that you will deliver those same results?
Yes, of course.
I think that's us. We've covered happiness, we've covered the hacks, we've covered the cheats, and we've covered how you can really, really turbocharge it and get a lot more of it for yourself with either myself or yourself. I think that's a fantastic 15th episode. And moving forward, this format's probably going to change. We had a discussion about that, but that's for
Yeah,
another episode.
that's for another episode. Awesome. Let's end the call then. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Hero Podcast 64 with, of course, my co host, the success maker, the kingmaker, the real Pete Kirkwood, with, of course, myself, Ryan G. from the Netherlands, ADS owner, aligned data strategy. I wish you a fantastic life. May your life never be the same. Good night, morning, evening, wherever you may find yourself. Goodbye.